am in a relationship with a guy that he's great, and I love him to death, but he has a very different love language than me. He's really, really physically affectionate. And that's not to say I don't like physical affection, and that's a huge problem. It's just that it's a lot. Like he's really, really physically affectionate. And
what does that mean? Paint me a picture.
So I will just be sitting there trying to work, because sometimes I work from home. We both sometimes work from home, and I'll be sitting there trying to work, and he's constantly kind of like grabbing me, hugging me from behind. He keeps kissing me on my cheek, and I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. Like I feel like I'm sounding ungrateful, but it's not my love language, and it can be so overwhelming sometimes. Like it's just too much. I'll come home from work and I'm really happy to see him, but then it's just constantly, he needs to just be holding on to me and showering me with physical affection. And I need to just sit down for half an hour and decompress. Like I had maybe had a stressful day.
When you tell him that, what does he say?
Well, it's either one of two reactions. So either he kind of gets hurt and huffy and just goes away and leaves me alone, and he's just upset and hurt, or he will say, oh, okay, and then he'll keep doing it, but then say, oh yeah, you don't want me to touch you, I forgot. And
God, dude, what a bad baby. You're dating a toddler, you know that, right?
I don't. He's just like he's hurting over that.
He's a toddler.
And he's normally more mature. Like he's normally quite.
I know, but look, you know this as well as I do. Okay, you've been in relationships. You know what physical affection is, and you know what connection is. You also know when somebody's a vampire. He is not trying to connect with you. He is trying to use you for his own emotional regulation. And you can feel the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of, but I also think he means well, because it's
doesn't matter. You know, doesn't matter. It's your body.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I can mean well all day long. If the person I'm trying to touch is saying, please don't touch me, that's my problem to deal with, not yours. And by the way, I'm not a fan of the love language stuff, because it frames it, and I've never talked to the guy who created them, but I don't like how they're used, because they get used as needs, and they get used as inflexible. I have a need here, and if you don't meet this need, I'm going to die. I'm going to be unloved because you didn't meet my need, and that's nonsense. That's those things, they get weaponized. Well, my love language is gift giving, and you came home today and you didn't bring me a gift, so I see that you chose not to love me today. That's insanity. It's nonsense. It's very childish. Well,
that's just the way it's not how he.
I know. But he wants unfettered access to your body so that he feels better. And that's parasitic.
Well, I mean, how do I differentiate then? Like, what is normal, loving? How do I don't want him to feel hurt. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
That's not your job. That's not your job. He can feel hurt. Good grief. You come home from work and you say, I want 30 minutes to decompress. And he's like, oh, okay, I see. You don't even love me. You can't control that. He's a baby. The greatest gift you can give him is to show up whole. And if showing up whole is, hey, I need 30 minutes of whom. Or when I walk in the door, let's have a long 30-second hug, and then I need to go exhale, change my clothes, go for a walk, plop down on the TV, like whatever I need to do for half an hour. Do you get what I'm saying? So I want you to stop living your life to try to not make him feel a certain way. You can't control that. You don't have that kind of power. I want you to ask yourself, What do I need in this house so that I can exhale and be at peace when I walk in my own house? Because right now you're starting to not even like walking in the door. Right?
I mean, yeah, it can be a lot, especially after a stressful day.
Yes.
So how do I then? So I mean, a loving relationship, it requires obviously some physical affection and love. How do I navigate that in a way that it works for both of us if we both just have different needs?
I want to take needs out. He will not die if y'all never touched again. He would not die. He'd be miserable. He wouldn't like it, but he's not going to die. He needs oxygen. He needs food. He needs water. He needs relationships. And so let's get into what do we want? Because that changes the whole narrative. Because then he has to say, when you walk in the door, I want to have my hands all over you all of the time. And then you get to say, I don't want your hands all over me all of the time. Because we're talking about wants. And I want to be able to say, I need a little bit of body autonomy without you throwing a temper tantrum or acting like a child. And I will say this, most men, this is just the way we're socialized. Most men do not know how to connect in any other way other than through physical touch. Because in the real world, being vulnerable, being social, being emotional with other men will get you killed. They'll get you ostracized. They'll get you kicked out of the boardroom. And so in many ways, guys check in. That's how they know that their marriage, their relationship, their girlfriend everything's okay, is through physical touch.
Yeah. I mean, I do kind of get that sense from him a little bit.
So are there ways?
Maybe a little bit more anxious.
Are there? Yes, there it is. And that makes you anti-anxiety medication for him, and that's not your job. Your job is just to be his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so what I really want him to do is two things. One, begin to explore when you're gone, when you're on the other side of the room taking a business call, what are some other things he can do to feel less anxious that don't involve putting his hands all over you? What are some other things? Because that's his job, is to deal with his anxiousness. And the second thing is, what are things that both of you can do to establish our relationship is good and safe? Because what he does is he creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Every time you walk in, hands all over, hands all over, hands all over. And finally you're like, hey, I need a minute. Oh my gosh, she hates me. And then you get annoyed that he's acting like a baby. And then you let him come hug me. And then you're like, ugh. And then pretty soon you stop coming home.
Yeah.
And then his fears that he's trying to quell by always being handsy are a self-fulfilling prophecy. He creates the world that he was trying so hard to avoid.
Yes.
But I think it starts with a grown-up conversation, which is, hey, I've tried to just talk about it and talk about it. I know that you love to hug me. I know that you want to always have your hands on me, and I get it, and I'm glad that you love me. But I can tell when you're anxious and you're trying to use my body for you to feel less anxious, and that's not my job. And also, we have to, if our relationship's going to last, we have to get to a place where I say what I want and you don't immediately turn into a third grader who just got dumped on the playground. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I do want to be able to have him feel loved in the relationship as well. I don't want it to just, I don't know, be all what makes me feel loved every day, and then what makes him feel loved kind of gets brushed to the side.
I know, but
I worry.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that sentiment. One of y'all, the way you're setting it up, is one of y'all has to not feel loved. If he could actually feel what it feels like when he walked and saw you walk in the door and said, "Hey, how can I love you today?" And you said, you could really love me by giving me 30 minutes to exhale and then just French kissing me for about 15 seconds, right? Then he could
Yeah.
exhale and say, okay, she's been very clear on how I can love her. If I'm feeling anxious, that's my problem to solve. And what he's going to figure out is, oh my gosh, when I love her in the way that she wants to be loved, I feel connected in a way that is much deeper and richer than me trying to manhandle her 24/7, 365. And you, when you start feeling loved in the ways that make you actually feel loved, and not like you're his mother trying to pat him on the head and make sure little Timmy's knee feels better after he skinned his knee, then you will increasingly crave connection with him.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Somebody's got to break this cycle. But it can't just be on a case-by-case basis. It's got to be breaking the cycle like an intentional, okay, look, we need to have a grown-up conversation, and every time we do this, you get your feelings hurt, and you go into, I need you to not do that. I need you to stay present with me. Grown-up adults. I want to start asking each other, how can I love you today? In the morning, and how can I love you today on the way home? And if that makes you anxious, when I say, here's how you can best love me today, or love me for the next hour, then you've got to deal with that anxiousness. Because this isn't just, I need it. This isn't about that. He does need it, but it's not because he loves and he's trying to connect with you. He needs it because that's the only thing he's figured out right now that helps him feel a little bit less anxious. And you can't be his anti-anxiety medication. That's parasitic. It's not your job. Your job is to be fully whole and to love him and see all of him and still love him anyway. Not bury yourself in the process. Thanks for the call, kid. I really appreciate it. This one was going to be tough. I know it is. But I also believe, man, if y'all really love each other, hearing, hey, here's how you can love me. And here's the strategy we're going to put into place for the next 3 months on asking each other, how can I love you? And then honoring that. And then dealing with our own discomfort outside of that. It'll be tough. I think y'all can do it.